This is an awareness video. My name is Darcy Marie. I have a disability, mobility issues for short, because there's a whole lot at this moment that's going on. But today I want to talk about wheelchairs. To me, a wheelchair speaks freedom. To a lot of people, they think a wheelchair is a limitation. This is not necessarily the truth. It's about how you perceive within your own mind a wheelchair. You can perceive it as a limitation, or you can perceive it as liberation. It's all within your own mindset. But I want to talk about the benefits of using a wheelchair. There's a couple different types of wheelchair users. One is if you are still ambulatory. This means you can still walk under certain circumstances, but may need a wheelchair under other circumstances. Maybe you frequently get tired, feel faint, or have muscle weakness, or frequently experience pain, but it's not all the time. Some days you can get around, other days you cannot. The other type of wheelchair user is an individual that can be completely paralyzed, let's say from the waist down, can no longer walk. That's just an example. Either way, no matter what type of disability you have, you could perceive it as a limitation or as liberation. Now, being an ambulatory wheelchair user, we must remember, and being a permanent wheelchair user, we must remember, not one disability is significantly worse than the other or higher up than the other, as we all cope with our disabilities differently. Some individuals may cope poorly and may have other symptoms that are more severe than the other person. Let's say, for example, you may be an ambulatory wheelchair user, but you have poor coping skills on how you cope with your situation, or how you handle your condition. Or maybe it's significantly hard on you, but yet you have an invisible illness you're suffering from. No one seems to understand. People perceive you as capable, and they expect a lot from you even though you truly suffer. Suffering to me is not freedom. Another thing is a person with, another example is a person that is permanently in a wheelchair, but maybe they have better coping skills. They can get around in their wheelchair and act like it's not bothering them, or they appear to handle it well. Two different disabilities, but two different coping mechanisms. This is why we can't judge a disability from another and how severe a person takes it, or how severe the disability. Now, let's get straight into it. What are the benefits of using a wheelchair? whether you're ambulatory or not. Another, the benefits of using a wheelchair include lost my train of thought. Independence. People often perceive you as codependent on others just because you're in a wheelchair. This isn't necessarily true. People can be independent in their wheelchairs. This is a fact. An example is today I independently cleaned the house in my wheelchair on my own by self-propelling myself around and doing things about the house. No one was here to assist me. I managed. This is independence, even though you're in a wheelchair or using a wheelchair. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be depending on others just because you're not walking. Other benefits include feeling free, being liberated. This feeling of being capable of doing more without suffering. Now, even if you are an ambulatory wheelchair user, for example, with myself, I have debilitating symptoms when I'm always on my feet. I get extremely fatigued, I have muscle weakness, I have pain, whatever the case is. But these symptoms decrease when I use my wheelchair. And therefore, I am able to accomplish more and do more in my wheelchair without suffering debilitating symptoms. Again, it allows me to do more with less debilitating symptoms. So why not take advantage of it? Another benefit of using a wheelchair is its safety. If you struggle with your balance or muscle weakness, or you have a tendency to fall over a lot, and you've tried other mobility aids, for instance, a walker or a cane, and you still end up tripping or falling, or worse, getting a concussion or breaking something, a wheelchair is safety. As it doesn't put you at risks for falls. Now, wheelchairs are safe. It's the safer part of the mobility aid. I'm speaking out about all this because even though I use a wheelchair and I am pretty much ambulatory, I feel it's important to raise awareness because I do have symptoms that are in my day-to-day, and being in a wheelchair, it helps me, even though I can actually walk. I'm not permanently unable to walk at this time, and probably won't be ever, unless, you never know. But I feel more capable, feel more confident, and I'm so relieved that I can do more when I'm in a wheelchair, even compared to using my cane. It just gives me a break from using my legs. But at the same time, I mean, I could still use my legs and propel my wheelchair independently if I need to, or even use the muscles in my arms to propel myself in a manual wheelchair. It's not like I don't move around or I don't get a workout on my day-to-day if I'm in a wheelchair. I am actually more so moving around when I'm in a wheelchair than when I'm not. I'm doing more. A lot of times when I'm not, I do things around the house. I can only tolerate maybe like 10 minutes. If I'm lucky enough, I can tolerate 15. I immediately need to lay down or I crash for the rest of the day, and pretty much bedbound from that, depending on the day and also depending on the activity level. When I was working and trying to be like a normal person, it was a lot on me, and it was a lot of physical activity. Because of this, my muscles would just basically give out and just not really work like they should, and I would get extremely weak, therefore leaving me having to quit my job. And but for me, it's for the better, and the healthier choice, to not try to fit myself into a normal box, and to keep going with my life in my own way. So I don't know what people think, just because I use a wheelchair, and sometimes, you know, I do actually walk. But I just feel it's very important to bring about some awareness that you can indeed walk and need a wheelchair. Thank you. Bye now.